Hello YouTube, this is Insane Monster with the uh, with the next part of What If Asta Had Cross Sans' power. So before anything else, um, I have to say that I've been doing a lot of things trying to take notes for different what ifs to help plan for the future of them, as well as new what ifs plan for the future as well. If you're a part of my Discord, then you probably already know about them and what's to come. If you're not, then, well, I guess you'll just have to wait and see. So, with that out of the way, hit it. Okay, so the last part of this was part 0, which means that this is part 1. So, we begin at the beginning of the anime, where obviously Asta is doing some training, getting everything set, getting himself pumped up for the grimoire ceremony, with Kara just kind of floating there, keeping an eye on him. He just sighs and remarks, "You know, you could just talk while I train, right?" Kara just replies with, "Yeah, but not really much to say, and I can't really go anywheres considering considering our souls are stuck together. And besides, Sans asleep, and honestly, I don't want to hear his puns. You're not as bad as him, but still." "Oh? What, did you break your funny bone, perhaps?" With Kara just kind of cringing, saying, "Oh my god. Still not as bad as Sans." So he heads back to the church, where the kids asked Asta to do the thing again, saying, which he just kneels down, closes his eyes, saying, all right, but only once, alright?" So as he closes his eyes, the marks begin to show up on his face like you see on the thumbnail here. When he opens his eyes, they're the same as the thumbnail, which the kids kind of like seeing this. They think it's really cool. And just walks in saying, "If you keep that up, it might hurt your eyes." Us just looks at him with his crossed eyes, well, crossed as in what you see in the thumbnail, and remarks, "What? This is easy as can be for me." With just sighing, "Alright, well then just hurry up and giving me a hand with the chores." With every with them getting ready and such, they head over to the grimoire tower to get their grimoires. Everybody is starting to get their grimoires, with Asa being worried that he might not get one. He knows full well that his magic isn't normal by normal standards here. He knows that people normally produce magic from their bodies and not their souls like he does. Which is when Kara notices something, telling Asta, "Hey, wait here for a bit. I'm gonna go check something out." She floats through the walls and sees a book inside. When she goes to touch it, she notices a black heart, basically a soul of hatred, and begins to strike up a conversation with what's inside of it. You can feel the same kind of hate that C has for humans coming from this thing, a hatred that can only be of one's own kind. And they start talking. Kara mentions that, Kinda remind me of me. Let me guess. You don't like your own kind either. With the devil being confused, remarking, I didn't know that a human spirit would be capable of such hate toward other humans. They must have really did something to you, huh? He said, yeah, I blame them for a lot of things. They outcast anything that's different from them. Anything that's not what they considered normal. Even though that word isn't even an actual word. It's just something humans made up that doesn't even have a proper meaning to anything. The devil smirks and asks, what exactly do you want? He replies with, and yes, I'm going with Kara being a girl since I feel like Kara might be a girl's name. So yeah. He just replies with, well, my soul is bonded to one of the people here trying to get a grimoire. And unlike everybody else, his magic is produced by his soul, not his body. And you, I'm not sure what kind of power you have. The devil remarks, I use anti-magic. Normally, someone would end up being killed by my power. Just by using the power I have, they end up being poisoned by it. But you say that the one you're bonded to, right? His power is produced by his soul, not his body, like it's supposed to be. He smirks, saying, yep, that's right. So, doesn't that mean that your power wouldn't affect him in the slightest? He thinks for a moment and asks, what exactly can he do? He smirks, saying, oh, all kinds of things. Things that are pretty powerful. Not to mention, he has the power that me and my old friend have as well. We gave our souls to him. We entrusted them to him. And now he has a power produced by his own soul and ours. He and the devil asked, what do you mean by that? He tells him that half of her soul was all that remained of her, and half of a soul of another entity, something that she only knew as monsters, as a monster, and who was known as that kind. Although it was his body that was remained intact, they merged their souls together so that they could survive. And after a while, he just had enough and merged our soul with his. The current holder that our soul is being stabilized by. Which means you could say he's being powered by two souls. It's just that one of the souls in question is actually half of two souls put together to make a whole. It's kind of weird. The devil smirked and said, so he won't be affected by my anti-magic. Interesting. And you say his name's Asta? Kara smirks, but does the typical scary Kara face, smirking, replying with, yes. Yes, he can. Now tell me, you're some kind of demon, aren't you? But why would you hate your own kind? He just smirked and replied with, perhaps the same reason that you hate other humans. As the devil just say, all right, lead me to him and he can have the grimoire. Though anything that happens after that, we'll see. As everybody has the grimoire and start marking Asta while all of this was going on, The devil's grimoire burst from the wall, heading directly for Asta. Everybody was shocked. They had no idea that there would be a grimoire inside of the walls of the tower, let alone it would burst from the wall so violently. He grabbed it and looked over to see Kara smirking. Quietly, in mental talking with Kara, he asked, "What exactly did you do?" She told him to pay attention to the grimoire a little better. When he did, he saw that this thing has a soul in it. Though when he tried to communicate with it, he didn't get a reply. Whatever was in here, it didn't want to talk to him right now. So he just left. Of course, still gets approached by the nobles and, beats them easily, but then gets attacked by the chain mage. Asta came back to see about and the others at the Grimoire Tower, and when he did, he saw being captured by the chain mage, and the chain mage stating that he was going to sell Yuno's grimoire. This obviously pissed Asta off, as he yelled, "Hey, let go of Yuno and give him back his grimoire." The chain mage just scoffed and attacked him with his chains, though he wasn't expecting yellow chains with spikes, like some arrowhead kind of things, on the end, made out of his yellow soul magic, this go shooting out towards his chains, ultimately obliterating them. One of the chains, the arrow kind of heads, turned into a shackle, grabbing onto his arm and swinging him around. This also caused him to go receive incredible pain throughout his body while the shackle was slapped onto him. He tossed the chain mage into the wall, releasing him from the shackle of the yellow soul magic chain, remarking, "The hell was that?" As he hurries and goes for an all-out attack, Asta returns in kind, destroying his chains, creating a Gaster Blaster, not to attack the chain mage, but to go over to Yuno and chomp the chains he's bind in, destroying them, allowing Yuno to be free. Then he just gets frustrated, mustering all the power he has left to attack Asta, hopefully to damage him enough so he can get away. But Asta's grimoire began to open, revealing the Devil Slayer sword. He takes it and destroys his magic. As the chain mage yells out, "What kind of monster are you?" Asta blitzed straight for him like in cannon, slamming him with the sword, sending him back directly into the wall, going completely through it. Asta got Yuno's grimoire and handed it back to him. Like in canon, they reminisce about their promise to one another that one of them would become the Wizard King. As for the training, Asta did ask Cora about the grimoire, stating that, "I know you had something to do with this grimoire coming to me, so spill it." She just stated, "Well, let's just say I felt something familiar coming from this one. So I had a little chat with them. Though them not talking to you is probably because they haven't made up their his mind on what to think of you." He sighs, scratching his head, saying, "Fine, so what? I gotta, show that I can actually use this grimoire?" He just shrugged her shoulders, saying, "Yeah, probably." As for meeting the the magic sword wielder from the Diamond Kingdom. He still gets some pointers from him, though he has inherited a good bit of Cross Sands' ability of wielding a sword. Currently, he's practicing with dual wielding using Cross Sands' sword that he can summon, as well as the Demon Slayer sword, which he's getting the hang of pretty quickly. As the months pass by, it's time for Yuno and Asta to go to the Magic Night exam in the capital. Unlike in canon, Asta, once they're past the view of the village, decides to make two Gaster Blasters, telling Yuno to hop on so that they can fly over to the capital. Yuno agreed to this, not wanting to walk the entire way there, so they end up flying there instead, with Yuno stating, your magic is pretty odd. I wonder what the Magic Knight captains are gonna think. Asta replied with, well, whatever they think, hopefully I can get into a good squad. As they get there to the capital and get registered for the Magic Knight exam, things go pretty much as in canon up until the actual exam. As for the first test, the flying test, Asta just did the same thing that he did to bring him and Yuno there to ride a Gaster Blaster instead of a broom. Kara remarked, yeah, this is probably the best way to do it, considering you can't actually use the broom to fly. With Asta telling her, yeah, I already know that, so please just let me focus. I'm tense enough about these tests. The creation thing, he just makes a bone. As for the marksmanship, he makes a red magic slash to attack some of the targets. Basically, he just kind of summons a red blade slice to send flying at a target. Now we get to the combat portion. Things go the same for Yuno, like usual. As for Asta, he gets challenged by a noble as well, who makes remarks stating that he, word for word, that what this noble told Asta secretly is that you seem to be somewhat competent for a lousy commoner. So make this at least interesting so I can get into a good magic squad and that you can go off and tell your little people at your village that you've at least fought a noble. Who knows, maybe they might praise you for holding your own for a little bit against me. As they go to their areas for the test to begin, Cora just is pissed, stating, are you gonna let him get away with that? Honestly, we should tear him apart. Asta has his fists gripping too, which catches Cora's eye as he smirks, saying, oh, I see. So do you agree? He tells her, not exactly, but I think he does deserve to have a lesson taught to him. This mate Asta's going against uses fire magic. As the combat test begins, the Flame Noble uses a barrage of fire attacks, which Asta then uses something very special, a power known as Overwrite. He presses it and it switches Asta in the noble's place. The noble got scuffed up a little bit, being able to undo his spell that was coming at him and realized that him and Asta switched places. As he was just furious, thinking, how the hell did he do that? Bakar laughing, stating, honestly, using overwrite to have him be attacked by his own magic? Seriously, it's just the best going up against long range attackers. All you have to do is switch your place with them and they just take themselves out. Next, the mage just goes and tries to attack him with a large fireball attack. Instantly, Asta takes out the Demon Slayer's sword, slashing it, destroying his spell completely. Though the flames start to go to Asta as they disperse, realizing he might be hit by this, he teleports behind the noble. The noble doesn't know what happened. Even if he messed up his flame spell with that sword, he should have been hit by the flames, but he just disappeared, only to find out that Asta's behind him, bearing Crossange's sword, and it isn't in its normal state. It's in a pure red energy state, and Asta stabs it completely through the noble's chest. People begin to scream, thinking that Asta murdered him. But then the noble began to turn completely white, not just his hair or his skin, but his entire clothes. And a glitched out X covered the noble's eyes. Asta pulled the sword out, and it showed that there wasn't even any damage to the noble. His body and clothes weren't cut at all. From the best assumption that the Magic Knight captains could give, Asta using that energy sword wasn't meant to actually harm the target, but to inject energy into them to cause this. Asta walked past the noble from behind and looked at what he did, telling the noble, kneel. The noble did. And Asta then said, submit the match to me. As the noble then gave the hand sign for submission. The referee stated that Asta's the winner. After that, Asta told the noble to go over there as he pointed and sit down. Once you do that, you're free. The noble did, and once he sat down, he regained his old color and he snapped out of it, with the glitched out X over his eyes disappearing. He asked, wait, what just happened? Why am I on the ground here? As he was told what happened to him. A lot of the examinees were afraid of Asta, realizing what he could do if you really pissed them off. Just being taken controlled by like that scared them. And the Magic Knight captains were also a bit worried about that, but also knew that something like that could end up turning enemies as into allies to fight alongside with, as well as use it to capture enemies much more easily. So they're a little bit, their thoughts on it are a little divided compared to which one is greater, a threat or a benefit to them. As everybody else did their matches, we get to the selection, where obviously goes with the Golden Dawn, getting all the captain's hands raised. As for Asta, he gets a few of them. Jack, the Rill, Yami, and the peacocks. I believe the captain's name is Dorothy, I believe. Though he tries to think, And Kara chimes in here, stating that I know a lot of humans. I know things, all kinds of expressions. As he looks at the captains raising their hands, he stated that, okay, the purple peacocks, I don't know what to think. She's asleep. Don't know how she's raising her hand for selections now, though. That green praying mantis guy looks kind of murderous, so probably not him. And that aqua deer guy seems like he's a bit spacey. Black bull guy seems okay. Seems, I don't know. I think I I think I feel kind of a vibe from him. I think he should be okay. Asta answered, saying that he'll go with the Black Bulls. This confused a lot of people, thinking that he would probably go with a higher ranking squad rather than the Black Bulls, but nobody questioned it. Nobody wanted to question the guy who literally just took control over a noble and used him like a puppet. After that, Asta went through the portal to get to the Black Bull's hideout and was introduced to all the Black Bulls. Unlike in canon, he didn't get hit with the fireball, he just teleported out of its way, with Korra stating, "These people are absolutely insane. You know that, right?" With Asta smirking, saying, "Yeah, but I think that's what makes it a lot of fun, don't you?" Korra did smirk and replied with, "Yeah, I think these are what real humans should be." Asta was definitely going to question her about what she meant by that later. Which then we get to the baptism. Obviously, the physical part goes the same as in canon, as what does the magic part, saying that he should use his grimoire instead of cross hands his sword. Like in canon, he still sends the magic back at him, at Magna, which he gets really excited, though questions why he doesn't feel any magic coming off of him. Though Asta just kind of smirks at that, saying, "Oh, really? Well then, if I don't have magic, how can I do this?" As he shows the marks in his eyes, like you see in canon, which Magna just smiles with a big grin, saying, "Oh man, that's sick! That's just awesome! How are you doing that?" Asta just laughs, saying, "Eh, nothing really." But honestly, but thanks, as he gets his Black Bull's robe and gets the Black Bull symbol on his headband. After that, Magna is leading him into the Black Bull's hideout for his room, as we see a silvered haired girl just watching from above on top of the Black Bull's hideout, seeing this all unfold. As he's excited to get his own room, he starts cleaning it up, with Magna telling him that he'll see him later in the morning. As he goes to bed, he then asks Cora what she meant by true humans. He replied with, "In my opinion, a real human is someone who's a true individual, who doesn't go with the flow, like like being just another sheep in a herd of humans. These guys, they're nothing like that. They're real individuals. They don't go with the common flow of things. They just do what feels right to them. And they don't discriminate against anything. At least that's how it feels when I see them. Honestly, I don't think they would discriminate anybody, whether they be commoner, peasant, royalty, noble, or even if they weren't human. At least that's the vibe I get from them. That's what I mean by a true human. someone who's accepting, someone who goes out the realm of normal and who just does, and who's a real individual, not following the herd. Basically, they're not sheeple, which is a term for a person who just follows the crowd, which honestly I don't like people like that myself. As he just laughs, saying, "Alright, Cora, well, time for bed," as he just goes off to sleep for the next day. Now, this is the end of this What If, which is part 1 of What If Asta had Cross Sands' power. As for the next What If, let's see. It is either going to be what if Asta had demon snow, or what if Asta was half demon. I'll take your comments in the comment section as a reference for to see which one I'll do next. As for anything else, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell and make sure you set it to all so that you're notified for when I upload a new video or add something to my comment section so that you know of any updates or something like that, or of any links to my Discord. So, hope you liked it, enjoyed it, and such. And please remember to come back for when I upload my next video. See you later.